called Memories Reach, right there on the show. So Memories Reach is a first-person, exploration-based puzzle adventure game crossed with a metroidvania. So you're kind of like exploring this world, solving puzzles, hunting down hidden secrets, sort of uncovering the story as you go. But as you kind of like solve the major puzzle in each area, you get a new ability, which gives you like a new way of moving through the world or a new tool for unlocking different kinds of puzzles. And so the world kind of gradually expands as you get these new abilities, can access new areas and that kind of thing. So yeah, really trying to blend those two genres of adventure puzzle game and Metroidvania together. The story goes, you've come into possession of a star chart leading to this long lost alien planet, essentially. And you've gone there in search of this rumored alien treasure. And when you get there, you find the remnants of this alien civilization that disappeared a long, long time ago. And the story is not about what happened to them. I mean, that's kind of like a bit of a cliche, that kind of like lost alien civilization thing. So what we're doing with this is you'll discover what happened to them fairly early on in the story. And then the story is more about exploring the remnants of their world and understanding who they were as a people, understanding their culture, and what they did when faced with this great cataclysm, which again is revealed fairly early on, and what their ultimate sci-fi-esque solution to that was. The different environments are quite varied. The one I've been showcasing lately, and will be shown in the indie showcase as well, is the jungle level, the Kogel rainforest, and that one is, yes, it's like a facility built in this dense rainforest. It's kind of been overgrown and reclaimed by the jungle in the eons that it's been abandoned. I've had a lot of fun designing these really intricate sort of interconnected levels that sort of like loop back on themselves and have secret passages that lead to unexpected paths to other parts of the game, hiding lots of little secrets throughout it. But then blending it with a puzzle game has been a real challenge, because you can't just like have room after room of like combat, say, because I'm building out puzzles, which adds a number of interesting challenges to it. So whereas like backtracking in a regular Metroidvania can be perfectly fun and entertaining because you can have new fights and stuff going on, or have some fancy new movement technique that allows you to zip through and bypass the fights. Whereas my game, once you solve the puzzles in a room, when you come back through that room, there's generally not anything new in there to redo, right? So it's been a challenge to like design the level so that you don't necessarily backtrack through the same rooms again and again, unless there is a good shortcut to get through it quickly. And finding ways to reuse levels of rooms in interesting ways, so that if you do have to go back through there can be more to discover in that room or more hidden secrets to put in there. So there's a reason when you do come back later in the game with new abilities or new pickups, whatever you've got, there's a way to make that room still fresh and interesting. So that's been a real challenge. It's kind of a mishmash of different things I was interested in that I wanted to like try and cram together, which wasn't the original idea, I suppose. I've always had an interest in sci-fi. Even my last game had a lot of sci-fi elements scattered through it, even though it wasn't strictly a sci-fi game. I've always had an interest in Metroidvanias and Metroidvania style level design, so I definitely wanted to do something in that space. And coming off my last game, which was also a puzzle game, but it was much more of a sort of point and click style game. It was designed primarily as kind of like a mobile game, so it's mostly involved touch screens and click and drag things around. You didn't really freely move around the world. You kind of like click on a door and it zooms through the door to the next room. And I was like, and that was intentional because it was my first solo project. I deliberately kept it quite small and contained. So for this one, I wanted to expand out and do something more ambitious, a bit bigger, let the player actually walk around freely in the environment. And so the opportunity is like, well, what do I make then? Well, I want to make a Metroidvania style game. I want to make a more free roaming style puzzle game, and I love sci-fi. So let's just squish all those three things together and it'll work, right? So that's basically where it came from. The level is structured with hidden paths and connections between it, but it's a full 3D world. There's a bit of homage to Metroid Prime in there, in sort of the behind the visor kind of view of the HUD and some of the scanning elements. So I've tried to pay a bit of homage to it as well. In addition to that, there are games like The Witness and the Talos Principle and stuff that influence the puzzle design. And then there's things like Mass Effect has come into a bit of the sci-fi elements, but a lot of non-game stuff as well. So in particular, The Expanse, both the TV show and the books, was a big influence, and some of the novels and works by like Arthur C. Clarke and other sci-fi authors as well have really sort of played an influence on there too. But when I first started the project, it was supposed to be an 18-month project. That was my goal, expecting it would blow out to maybe 2 years. So we're 2 years in now, well, actually more than 2 years in now, and we're still a long way off finish. So it's a part of that is I underestimated the scope, and a part of it is I just got excited with certain elements and kind of ran with them, and that kind of blew out the scope. So that's on me. But it's been a lot of fun. And like, I don't want to be working on the game forever. Like, I want other people to be able to play it. I want to get out of finished games where people can play and enjoy it. I don't want. So it won't. Yeah, and I'm not gonna. I've really pulled back lately, and now that the game is really well into production, and I'm really basically just building out the rest of the environments, doing a lot of the art, filling all those holes. I'm being very conscious of scope creep at this point. So if I have a cool new idea, I'm like, but should it go in? But maybe I save that for later, or maybe if it's not a lot of extra work, I can build it with stuff I've already got, then it will go in. But it's like anything at this point, if it's going to like push out the schedule even further, I just like, no, I've got to actually I've got to ship this game. A big focus at the moment is just basically just finishing up the rest of the game, right? Like I've had a demo out for a while now. That demo was like basically designed for trade shows, so it's a fairly short, succinct demo. So I'm letting that basically just run now while I focus on building out the rest of the game. And the next, I guess, big release that players will be able to see will be a longer demo, more substantial chunk of the game ready to go, and it's more finalized with more final art and audio and whatnot. Then that will be released as a more substantial demo. So that one should go for a good hour or so. So you better play a lot of the game at. That will probably involve the jungle level, which is what I'm showing off during the showcase. So players should be able to get their hands on that as well, and probably some other areas that I might that will connect to it as well. So I don't want to just have the one level. I want you to be able to explore in and out. So that'll come sometime next year, and then after that, I guess it will be released whenever that is.
What's your go-to caffeinated beverage when working on the game, if you've got one?
Honestly, it's going to be a pretty boring answer. It's just coffee. I have a little barista machine in the corner. I make my own coffee in the mornings. I do like to experiment with beans, though. I have there's a coffee bean store down the road from my house that I go to every week when I go do my grocery shopping, and I try and buy a new flavor of beans. So they've always got a whole range of different flavors. There's always new ones there. So I think the last one I had was a macadamia flavor. It was quite nice.